Clause 17, I call Dan Carden to move new clause 17.
Thank you, Chair. My new clause seeks to right a historic wrong. 21 years ago, the ban on homosexuality, the ban on LGBT plus personnel serving in the armed forces was lifted. During the years of the ban, it inflicted staggering cruelty on those men and women who had stepped forward to serve their country. And this is a hidden history of the British military, so let me reveal some of the sorry tale. Between the mid-1950s and 1996, men and women, predominantly men, of our armed forces who were thought to be gay were arrested, searched, and questioned by officers trained for wartime interrogation. In many cases, this went on for days before they were charged, often without legal counsel or support. On many occasions, arrest was based upon little evidence. And it has emerged that many heterosexual personnel were falsely accused by service police officers, losing careers and in some cases, homes and families. After harrowing investigations, these men and women were led away to military hospitals where they were subjected to degrading and shameful medical inspections conducted in accordance with confidential Defence Council instructions held by every unit of the armed forces. At court-martial, in the moments before those convicted were sent down, operational medals and good conduct badges were ripped from their uniforms. They served typically 6 months in prison for the military criminal offence of being homosexual. It's staggering that this continued until 1996, and the administrative dismissal of LGBT plus personnel continued for a further 4 years until January 2000. As these members of our armed forces walked from prison, they were dismissed in disgrace with criminal records as sex offenders, which from 1967 had no civilian equivalent. As they left through the main gate, they were commonly given letters instructing them never to use their military ranks again or wear items of uniform, for example, in remembrance of the cenotaph. And with dignity, they continued to obey those letters. Their names were erased from the retired lists of the Army, Royal Navy, and Royal Air Force as though they had never existed. These once proud members of our military were cast out of the armed forces family and outed to their own family and friends. They lost their homes and their financial stability. Their service record cards had the top corner clipped and were marked in red pen with the annotation, dismissed in disgrace, causing many a lifetime of employment issues. In the past, in their moments of need, they were shunned by military charities, and I'm pleased that this has now changed. However, there has been no such remedy or reckoning from our government or the Ministry of Defence. The Select Committee has heard firsthand from the charity Fighting with Pride accounts of how those affected live today amidst the ashes of their former service careers. Our LGBT veterans are scattered across the United Kingdom, often away from military communities, living lives in stark contrast to those hoped for when they joined the forces. In the 21 years since the ban, nothing has been done to support those LGBT plus veterans. The impact endures amidst loneliness, isolation, shame, and anger. But as Canada, Germany, the United States, and other nations prepare, assess, and make reparations, the United Kingdom, which persisted with the ban for longer than many others and implemented it more zealously, is long overdue in putting right this shameful wrong. The Minister, I know, has offered his apology, for which many are grateful, and him and I have talked about this issue. But would he not agree? This community of veterans who were treated with unique cruelty deserve an apology on behalf of the nation by the Prime Minister in Parliament. They must be supported on the pathway to royal pardons, restored to the retired list, and have their medals returned. Prohibitions on their use of rank and wearing berets at the cenotaph must be revoked. They need resettlement support, as we offer all other members of our armed forces, and they must be fairly compensated and have their pensions reviewed in recognition of their service and the hardships they face then and now. Until this is done, this will remain a matter of national disgrace, and it will stand in the way of this government's stated wish to be a global exemplar for both LGBT+ and veterans communities. So this amendment places a duty upon the Ministry of Defence to find our LGBT+ veterans, find out how they have fared, and make recommendations to Parliament about what must be done to right this wrong. Remedy must not take years, and the government will need to work very closely with community leaders. Thank you, Chair.